Hey folks, I am the Mighty Plantain. Thanks for checking out this beer review. Got a couple of things to say right off the bat. Thank you very much, Jeremiah and John, for suggesting this particular brew. And thank you very much, John, for supplying this brew. You know, I got to admit, I felt awkward about people offering me free beer for the longest time because, hey, I'm just going to get drunk and a few people are going to watch me talk about the beer. But you know what? I think I've started to come around. I think the channel's gotten big enough with 117 subscribers to date that, hey, I'll take the free beer because only a fool would turn down free beer, right? For whatever reason. So, awkwardness aside, thanks again, John. Appreciate it. And anybody else who's got a beer that they want to see reviewed and they want to supply, hit me up down in the email link or the comments below. Let me know. We'll see what we can do about getting it in my hands. I would especially appreciate getting my hands on some home brews. And I'll definitely give you some constructive feedback on what I think about those. But tonight, we're looking at Shed's Mountain Ale. It says here it's a rugged brown ale, brewed in Vermont. So it's still fairly local to New England, which is nice. I've seen some other stuff that's really good coming out of Vermont. I believe Long Trail's out of Vermont. I know I've had a couple of others, but they escaped me just now. So let's see what we're working with. Government warning, who cares about that? It says here, this is a Deep Stone Vermont Heritage. This small batch classic now makes its home in Middlebury, Vermont. Smooth malty overtones with a pronounced hop finish, 7.4% ABV. Unfiltered. So a couple of things going on, not a whole lot of info in it, but we know that it's an unfiltered brown ale and it's got some hoppiness to it. Alright, so for a brown ale, it is very brown. It's slightly cloudy, which comes from that being unfiltered. I've started to appreciate the unfiltered beers a lot more than I used to. I wasn't a big fan of particulates and stuff like that, but once I started to develop a taste for some of the things that the particulates added, especially with hoppy beers, you know, the fact that there's basically chunks floating in the beer, stopped turning me off because it was worth it to get some of the flavors. So I'm interested to see what happens with an unfiltered brown ale, because I don't think I've had too many of them. There's actually a slight reddish tinge to it, if you look where the light's really hitting the glass. Overall, just a really light brown ale, though. Slightly effervescent, and like I said, a bit cloudy. It's got an interesting aroma to it. Pretty grainy, like plain oatmeal. Although I don't think they used oats. I think it's mostly a barley brew. With just that grainy aroma. And maybe a finish of some hop bitterness. But nothing really particular coming through for that. No specific notes or anything. Well, it is exceptionally smooth. It's got a light mouthfeel, honestly. I was expecting it to have a little more body to it, but it's a pleasantly light mouthfeel. I'm surprised but not disappointed. So, I mean, extremely smooth. It's got a nice maltiness, and actually, as I'm drinking on the exhale, I'm getting like almost a caramel, maybe a slightly sweet flavor. Now I'm getting some roasted notes on the initial sip. It's actually taking on more complexity, I think, as I drink it. I mean, in the finish, I'm getting an overall hoppy bitterness, but it's minute. It's not so much. It's not so minute that it's not there. It's definitely there and making its presence known. Again, there's no particular hop notes. There's no necessarily citrusy or piney flavor coming through. It's got a hint of sweetness. Maybe a bit of earthiness there. A bit of earthiness, some sweetness. Like I said, that kind of caramel type sweetness coming through in the finish. I'm having a rough time with this one because it's a bit of an enigma for me. It's cloudy, and slightly dark, but it's got a lighter than expected mouthfeel. It's got a really interesting roastiness that comes out after I get about a quarter of the way, less than a quarter, maybe about an eighth of the way through the beer. But it's certainly after the first few sips, that roasty character started coming through. That sweet, slightly caramel characteristic in the finish, that was really interesting. And then just that hint of hoppiness that blends really well with everything. I don't want to say it's a perfectly blended brew, but it's coming really close in the fact that it's been a journey of discovery from start to finish. And it's evolving as I drink it. It puts it really high up there for me. I'm not quite ready to push it up to a perfect 5 out of 5, but I think I'm going to come as close as possible. Where I only rate on the half scale. I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5. This is an excellent, excellent beer. And honestly, it's one you've got to be careful with. It comes in at 7.4 ABV. So being so delicious and so easy to drink, you can find yourself in trouble really quick with this one. I'm waiting to see if anything else comes through. It's getting a little bit tangy now. Right after the initial swallow, and as it rolls off the tongue, it's getting a little tangy. And so again, as I drink it, more and more flavor characteristics are coming through, so it's a very good beer. But that's just my opinion. You should check it out for yourself. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and the email link down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the beer. John, I know you have a bottle and you want to check it out. I want to hear what you have to say about it and see how our notes compare. Thanks again. This has been a great experience. And until next time, folks, make sure to hit me up down below with a like and a share if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Click on that little subscribe button. You'll get a notification every time a new video is posted. Cheers. A little while back, we did a bit of a comparison with the Not Your Father's Hard Root Beer review.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for the beer, man. So, highly recommended by you. The Extreme Beer Fest this weekend. We'll be able to get a hold of, I believe it's the American